It's in there somewhere, isn't it?
It's there somewhere. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Kirklees Guitar School Podcast. I'm joined with my co-host, Mr. George Loveridge. How you doing, George?
Yeah, I'm not so bad. How are you doing?
I'm okay. Was this week a rock or a roll?
From a playing perspective, I suppose it's a rolling stone, a stroll, in the middle. Carrying on with one-to-one lessons. We're gearing up to do some band work, actually. That's quite exciting. But yeah, we're 3/4 of the way through the term now. And there's a few tired heads about we've nailed what we've been working on the past couple of weeks and in lessons, and now the next thing's come along, and it's, that's a bit harder than this. Can we go back to that? But we can't move forward. Back on the road in the Herald.
Yes.
People have been asking for updates, so I've sent you an email so you can overlay a picture.
Okay.
Yeah, about 300 miles over the weekend.
Excellent.
In Storm Amy. Very scary. Behind the lorries in the wind.
I bet it weighs about as much as a crisp packet.
Yeah, it does. It does, and I nearly looked like a discarded crisp packet on the A1M on Friday night. Yes, I've written in the crib sheet Denbydale 5-0.
What does that mean?
Yeah, I haven't talked to you about this at all. We're in Denbydale, which is where the pie hall is. I was walking the dog yesterday morning, and a van pulled up, just nondescript, big white van. 6 armed police officers get out of it by the Nisa on the high street.
Right, okay.
If you think like anti-corruption riot police, all they needed was the helmets and the shields. We were all 6 of them.
Okay.
Right? And I'm like, oh.
What have I done?
Yeah. Wasn't for me. They didn't just get out and put a bag over my head. I thought, right. And they start walking where I'm going to think, where should I not go anywhere with the dog? They're going, right. And they're all walking. No, they're going to the sandwich shop before orders. 6 armed police. And they went to the sandwich shop along the high street.
Really?
And they weren't raiding it. I thought, they've not paid the taxes. No, they're just going, I'll have one of them on rye. And that was it.
For anybody that's not familiar with the area, like nothing happens.
Nothing happens, yeah.
Nothing happens.
We make some noise every now and again, and that's it.
And we get told off by the council repeatedly. Anyway, so that's
Denbydale 5-0. That made me
bit
chuckle.
of drama for you.
And the only other
week,
thing,
George.
yesterday with my lunch, I watched the BBC iPlayer documentary on Ozzy Osbourne, Coming Home.
Right.
It's a tough watch.
Is it?
He had so much. I thought, like we both said, he did the gig because he knew something was coming. No, he had plans.
Really?
He had stuff to do. Like building a veg patch, for instance. He said, I'm not playing in board games, but I'll build a veg patch. And yeah, it's what was really sad. They like these typical documentaries, they say, this is the date and then show a clip.
Yeah.
They did that throughout, and then it just said 3 days, 2 weeks after the concert.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, God, that's a bit much.
Oh, you big softy.
Yeah. What about you? Are we rocking or rolling?
Nothing to report. Stroll,
Yeah.
if I'm completely honest. I played more guitar this week than I've probably played for quite some time for myself.
Nice.
We're sort of get to that point in the term. I say this every time it kind of rolls around where we're sort of 3/4 of the way into the term. Everything's quiet kind of on the home front, and I actually get to play guitar and for my own satisfaction. So that's been pretty good. Yeah, a lot of people have been asking about playing over the changes, so I've gone back to the drawing board and gone, right, I can play over the changes. How can I... Because in a lesson, we can convey this quite, I've done it in a lesson.
One-to-one,
dozens
yeah,
of
it's
times.
doable, yeah.
But online, it's a different teaching dynamic. So I've gone right back to the beginning, and I'm currently in the early stages of putting a course together for that. The theory course has been trundling on. I'm still working on that. A lot of people are asking for that. Actually, the people who come to see us and are part of my group program, they've just finished lesson 6.
Are they the guinea pigs of that then?
Yes, they are. So, yeah, it's coming at the end of the month, guys. I'll do a big post in the Facebook group about it, but I'm really excited. Some of the best online teaching I've ever done.
Yeah, and you're still working on your Evil Lair project, scheming?
Yeah.
Burns?
To be
this
continued.
time next year?
13th of November is the day.
Right.
So
lucky for some.
That's it. It's not Friday, though. It's a Wednesday. So it would have been cool if it were Friday. I did actually look to see when the nearest Friday the 13th was. But anyway, right, we're getting getting out into the weeds, which is not unusual for the show.
Early, yeah.
That's it. So what's on the agenda for this week?
So this week we're looking at strumming patterns, different strumming patterns, getting out of that down, down, up prison cell. That is that strumming pattern. We all learn it and go, great, this works for everything as long as it's in a 4/4 time signature. But how do we get out of that? How can we learn the rhythms of other songs and hopefully stop thinking about strumming patterns? You're just playing the guitar for that song only. We then got our tone talk, clean versus distorted with strumming, because playing strumming on an acoustic guitar is different to an electric guitar.
Yeah, it's a completely different ball game with electric guitar, and I've got some tips for you that I think will help you with that, so stick around.
Yeah, and of course, Pick Our Brains. It's back in full swinging, full force. Got 3 questions from last week's Super Strat episode, which I love playing. that was really, really good. Even if we messed up quite a lot on the playing, we were just too excited. Pick our brains, 3 questions from YouTube, and then, of course, we have the jam at the end.
Okay, so I think before we sort of start with the neck deep portion, I think we should caveat this with what's this down, down, up prison that you're talking about? Because I think that's a bit harsh to call it a prison.
I think I refer to this as this because, right, let's say you've just come for a lesson with me, first lesson. Yep. Great, here's some tab, go away, learn that. Week 2, here's a scale, and here's some chords as well. Week 3, here's a song to practice those chords to. We're just going to be playing downstrokes while you get used to those chord changes. A month down the line, it's like, well, 4 downstrokes are great, but it sounds really monotonous and like an exercise. How do we turn that into music? Insert strumming pattern.
Right.
And that becomes music from there. And then you sort of stick with it forever. You learn your BS Bingo, Brown Eyed Girl, Zombie, the Cranberries, Learn to Fly, Foo Fighters, and on and on and on.
Palanitini,
and you just carry on doing it, and then you get stuck. But there are ways around changing it up, I think.
Okay, so I want to preface this with anybody that's studying with us, whether it's in the group program or face to face. It's all part of the dastardly plan.
It is. We've got a ladder that we have to work up.
Yeah. We have a very we have a syllabus that we like to follow. Now, the down, down, up strumming pattern takes what would be takes this. And all of a sudden it starts to sound like music.
Yes.
And this can be played for loads and loads of songs. Now, if you went to see anybody on the street and said, I can play guitar, and you played that, they'd be like, yes, you can.
That's how I sell it to everyone.
That sounds like proper guitar playing.
Family party. Oh, get your guitar out.
Yeah. But then when you come across something like, I don't know, something like Wonderwall, for example, has got a really particular strumming pattern, and everybody gets really frightened of it. Now, I think strumming patterns, the whole concept behind a strumming pattern is great, but we should eventually look towards breaking out of that and not even thinking about strumming patterns per se as downs and ups, but thinking of rhythms and being able to sort of parrot the back. So more on that in a little bit, but could you give me some examples of strumming patterns for other songs outside of the down,
definitely.
down, up,
so
up, down?
You're right. I think you have to look beyond the strumming pattern and think of a rhythm. So I've got 3 songs that I've written down here that we gig quite a lot. And this is a case in point. Dreams, Fleetwood Mac. Day 1 of learning Dreams by Fleetwood Mac. It's, apart from the A minor in the chorus, the solo bit, it's F to G the whole way through. Week 1 of learning Dreams by Fleetwood Mac. And then you'll sort of stay there. It's F to G for 4 minutes. So I'll start off. So what am I doing there? I'm palm muting that. So I'm resting quite a lot at the bar. You've got a potential of 4 beats to play with. You don't have to use all of them.
Now, are you thinking about this in crotchet and quavers, or are you thinking of it as a rhythm and sort of parroting it back to yourself?
I can do it in crotchet and quaver, but I'm thinking of it in a rhythm. It's
boom,
like bum bum back. Yeah, it makes us sound silly, and we have students that laugh at us when we.
I listen in on the drum lessons that are going on next door, and I listen to somebody like Tom or Andy.
Lemonade, Denby Dale.
All
quavers
and syllables, the sort of talking in bums and bats.
Yes.
I'm just like, what's, because they're all on headphones. You see, I'm like, what's that all about? So you're saying
that's my verse to start the song, quite moody.
Yeah. And how would that develop?
So I'm going to incorporate that strumming pattern with a bit of arpeggiating. That's my pre-chorus, the build before the chorus.
We're getting a little bit in front of ourselves. What's arpeggiating?
Okay, an arpeggio, by definition, is a broken chord. So if you take C, we have 3 ingredients, C, E, G, but in a more outside of piano sense on the guitar, we're essentially just picking the chord, all the notes in the chord. Think House of the Rising Sun, perfect example. And that's all we're allowed to play of that one.
Yes.
We've had
that before, haven't we?
So that's step 2. That's I'm building. You have to think, in terms of structure, the song structure, your chorus is your highest point, ideally, in terms of dynamics and feel. That's where everyone's dancing and all the piss people at the back of the room are singing Thunder Only Happens When It's Raining. So I've gone from to, And then I'm going to hit it a bit harder.
Yeah.
Do that same pattern from before. It's familiarity. You're going to get onto call and response later.
Yes.
I'm just developing it. And I'm not thinking about the down, because I could sit and go, there's no flavour, there's no layers.
Dynamics.
It's two-dimensional,
Yeah.
it's the dynamics. What else? Valerie, Amy Winehouse.
Okay.
Verse and chorus are the same. E major to F sharp minor. So I'm going to jazz it up quite a bit. That's my verse, yeah. Now, that's a really good point.
We're both tuned down to E flat
it's
today, and it just
lovely.
sounds wicked, doesn't it?
So my verse, I'm playing in like open first position. Well, I need a bar chord because F sharp minor's not in an open chord. Do my chorus, my pre-chorus, but then for the chorus, I'm going to come all the way up to the A-shaped bar chords, which isn't strumming, I know, but I'm going to jazz it up a little bit. Bum bum bap, bum ba bum bap. If you're that way inclined. But then if I go back to my verse, again, it's the dynamics, it's the flavour, it's the articulation of my right hand. One more, Be My Baby by the Ronettes. More arpeggios. Wrong chord. It's that very dun dat that 60s thing.
Yeah, it's kind of indicative of all that kind of doo-wop stuff.
Yeah,
from
think
the
it's
early
what
60s,
I'm doing,
isn't it?
what the ride cymbal's doing on the drums. Dun dat dat dun dat.
Yeah,
that
I mean,
sort of
you
thing.
take that. Etc.
So those are just 3 songs that I use professionally, where you've got now all of those. I picked those because you could get away with down down up down up for 4.5 minutes.
Yeah.
But this is why they don't pay me the big bucks. They pay me the medium bucks to change it up. That's how I use it, and that's how you should use it. Think of it more in terms of a rhythm.
So next on the crib sheet, we talk about breaking free from robotic strumming. So I think it's really important, before we start messing around with strumming patterns, we sort of go, like, when you start experimenting with these, if you accidentally put a downstroke where it's not supposed to be, or you accidentally put an upstroke in, as long as it adds to the overall group of 8 notes, quavers,
Yes.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and like this, the strumming police aren't going to come and get you.
You can say that.
It's okay though. Like,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people get so wound up with strumming patterns. Again, every note exactly as it is. You could take some of the most prolific acoustic guitar records of all time, and you could compare a segment from one part of the song and a segment of the same section in another part of the song, and I bet the strumming pattern, I bet there's a stroke somewhere awry.
Mm-hmm.
Because when Gallagher's playing Wonderwall and he's really laying into that guitar, he's trying to make it speak.
Yes.
Now, I think rock music, lots of people lament rock music kind of suffering a death in the 80s with a lot of the technology that came in of synthesizers and things like that. You know, the sort of like a lot of this kind of new romantic stuff came in and
Spandau
all that.
Ballet and all
people
that.
were talking about, synthesizers, it's not real music and one thing or another.
Depeche Mode. that
Yeah,
sort of thing.
which it absolutely is. It's just different, and we don't like change, George.
No, we don't.
But I think what a lot of that music, what made everybody sort of hesitant to get into that kind of music is because it was absolutely perfectly in time.
You're absolutely right.
There was no human element to it whatsoever. Even like some of the best drummers, I've played with some amazing drummers. We have some amazing drummers that teach here at the school. But the human touch, there's actually software that you can play, make drum backing tracks up using AI, and then there's a humanized feature which takes some of the notes and incrementally just move them
You
out
know
of
what that
time
does?
ever
It
so
adds
slightly.
16th note ghost notes to
Yeah.
mimic, and it changes. I've been writing about this week on the rudimental breakbeat.
Right.
Anyway, tangent. Yes, there's they change the variation on the attack
Yeah.
of every other snare to give it a human feel.
So in English, what that means is we're all human, and if you put an extra stroke in somewhere, it's absolutely fine. Nobody's going to tell you off.
Yep.
Now, that introduces the idea of call and response. So every guitarist that comes to see me at the school, I get them to a point where we can play down, down, up, up, and we might have a look at some other songs with a couple of different strumming patterns. But I don't have a sheet. I've seen teachers before have sheets with 12 strumming patterns on, and here are loads of different variations. Now, that'll get you so far.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. But if we're looking for mastery of the instrument, you should be able to hear something and parrot it back. So I'm going to turn around.
Okay.
I'm going to play a G chord, and I'm going to play it with a bit of a different rhythm. And I'd like you to see if you could play it back to me, George, if you can.
This is dueling banjos if you're not careful.
So you see what we did there? Like, when I'm transcribing a song, I'm not thinking, "Oh, what out of my index of strumming patterns can I choose?" I hear a rhythm and I know the chord and I can parrot it back, just like you did there.
I think though there are I'm not disagreeing with you by any stretch. Some songs, like you say, Wonderwall, such a distinctive pattern. As the amp nearly falls off.
Yeah, 1,500 quid worth of Princeton just goes bang.
Yeah, they're not cutouts, they're real. Get Lucky, Daft Punk.
Yeah,
You can't miss it. They hit you like a bus.
right. So when I play that in bands, I'm thinking boom ba 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 ba. Yeah, you caught me off
E
with you
flat.
being in E flat.
Yeah.
But I'm not thinking 1-eander, 2-eander, 3-eander, 4-eander. I'm thinking my wrist is doing that.
And you're lifting, aren't you?
And that's how a lot of that sort of funk and soul stuff kind of is. So how would you break out of down, down, up, prison? I would listen to some records with fairly kind of straightforward chords, cowboy chords, and see if you can figure out what the pattern is. Now, there's nothing wrong with you writing the pattern down while you're working it out, because it's a process. It's going to take time. But I want you to think of a rhythm with a chord and try and play that.
I would say as well, put your guitar down and can you tap it?
Excellent idea.
Alistair, Run Like Hell. It's a tall, I can see it in the clouds, that strumming pattern up there. But Gilmore's not going. He's going.
Is the top end of his neck intonated?
Yeah, no.
Is it?
He's going. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
And you can sort of, with practice, crazy concept, I know, but
Imagine.
down, up, down. Does that work? Now that's hard because you're splitting it across two chords. But yeah, tap it out. Have you got? Can we think of any other examples? Of
Not
songs?
off the top of my head because
Fair
you're
dues, but
putting
yeah.
me on the spot. Oh, Dead or Alive.
Oh yeah.
Right, okay. Well, now we're not talking. We're not
Oh
talking
my
that
God,
bit.
come on.
But it's
Yeah.
all the same. Now I'm thinking dun 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 dun. dun.
It's almost Little Drummer Boy, isn't it? The
Yeah,
Christmas
but
song,
that's. I can't believe that came to me just at the right moment. But dun 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 dun.
There's a big word beginning with S. Big word beginning with S. Syncopation.
Yes, which is a whole podcast in itself.
It is.
We won't get into that. But listen to some of your favourite records that look to have cowboy chords, and this is the only time that we'll tell you to go to ultimateguitar.com.
Ugh.
Just find a song with a couple of cowboy chords in it and be like, what's the rhythm? Can I vocalise the rhythm and can I strum it back? And it's going to take you ages the first time you do it.
It's really alien, isn't it?
It'll take you a little bit less. I'm working on some exercises which I'll put on the YouTube channel for that in time as part of all my evil, dastardly plan.
I think I'm working on The
13th.
Exorcist with your evil plan.
That's why I was late. That's why I was late this morning. Right.
So yeah,
okay.
tap it out. If you listen to some songs, and I do this a lot in my lessons, if someone can't get the timing, some people don't have timing naturally, which is fine, it can be taught, of course, just tap along to it. Take away the frustration of this thing and tap it out.
So moving on to his technical focus
Yes.
then. We've got a couple of techniques that you might hear in pursuit of other strumming patterns that we'd like to break down for you. So we've got build-ups first.
Yes.
I'll bat this one to you, George. What's a build-up?
A build-up is a crescendo. Okay, two technical terms now. I mentioned earlier, the chorus is the peak of the song. Think of it like a mountain. You know, Story Mountain, when you're writing stories when you were kids. The chorus is, in theory, the loudest, most joyous part of the song. It's a sort of a bridge, not a literal bridge, but it's the section where you go from the verse to the chorus. So we want to build up in terms of volume and dynamics. We're shaking things up, we're making it more exciting. Classic example of this is Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes.
Okay.
You got that riff. Then we've got that riff very monotonal. All of a sudden, what am I doing there? I'm palm muting quavers on this G chord. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then I'm going to stop palm muting just because I've decided to turn the volume up a little bit.
Yeah. And it's like opening the floodgates. Can you hear how it's getting louder and louder and louder?
Think of a big volume dial, sort of, you know, Homer in The Simpsons when he's in the nuclear power plant, he's got a big dial that he can crank up to release all hell. And that's what you're doing with your right hand.
But you're sort of doing it gradually. You're sort of introducing more and more and more.
That is a build-up. It's making the song sound more exciting, definitely.
Okay, so another one that we could talk about is accents. So not regional accents.
No, let's not get cancelled.
But accents in music. Now, an accent, particularly when it comes to a strumming pattern, if you're accenting a note, you're just hitting it a little bit harder than you normally would. So what I tend to do in strumming patterns, particularly when I'm playing acoustic guitar,
okay,
I'll hit the second and the fourth beat of the bar a little bit harder. I'm not overdoing it, but let's say if that's a normal stroke, that's an accented stroke.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. Now, and I'm just sort of I'm hitting it probably 30 or 40% harder. It's more a little inflection. But in a strumming pattern, what would turn? And why is beat 2 and 4 significant?
They're stress beats. They're the off beat. It's what the drummer would play.
Yeah, it's where the drummer would play a snare drum. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1.
Yeah. It's a whole singer-songwriter thing, I think. You think of someone busking?
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
Well, it's like a train beat. Sounds like a train going over the tracks. Now, I'm just doing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 again. But I'm just hitting the second and fourth beat. Oh, there's a great song. What's it called? It's by Passenger.
I'm not sure. Not Let Her Go, is it?
No, it's it'll come back to me when we stop filming. I'll put it up in post if I can remember it. That's a great example of that because it says.
Okay. Another good one is if you go to a 6/8 time signature, you can split it up again. 1, 2, 3.
Like I Got a Spell on You or something like that.
It's really six. I was doing it with someone. I can't remember if it was a Get By with a Little Help from My Friends, the Joe Cocker version. It's 1, 2. What was it? Yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dun, 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 dun. That's it.
I heard you working on the solo for that, and I just sort of I was stood in the waiting room making a brew. Was it yesterday? Or it might be the day.
It was yesterday.
It might be the day
Grade
before.
6,
and I just sort of stopped and just kind of listened to it for a minute. I thought that's a great song. I should go back to that.
The bends are really cool. It starts off.
Obviously not the right tool for the job,
I'm in
but
the wrong
yeah.
tuning.
So moving into that, dynamics are a massive part of strumming, and
volume. That's what dynamics
how
are.
loud and how soft you're playing. You're playing something now. In a verse of a song, I'd be more inclined to like something like "Candy" by Paolo is a great example of this because it's more or less bar the ending. It's the same progression all the way through.
But again, you mentioned that ending. That is the peak of the song. I do this with our students sometimes. Sorry to butt in. You on YouTube, put it to like 20 seconds in. Keep the volume on your computer the same. Listen. And then put it to like 20 seconds before the end. And all of a sudden you want to turn your speakers down because that's what the dynamics do. It's
the peaks and troughs of the song. In the band classes, I say this all the time. If I had a quid for every time I said it in the band classes, I wouldn't need to run band classes anymore, right? But let's take something like Candy. The verses, I'm strumming quite laid back. But then for the choruses, I'm going to add that 30 or 40% like I would for the accent, but for it all. So when you're playing a verse in a song, just back up. I think a better way to think of it, actually, rather than thinking I'm going to play normally in the verses and I'm going to add extra in the choruses.
You're thinking subtract?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
yeah.
think I'm going to actually play a little bit quieter in the verses, and then in the choruses I'm going to sort of play at normal volume. Now, it's different strokes for different folks. For me personally, more is more, so I'll always opt to add more in. But if you feel like you can't really play the guitar any harder, subtract in the verses.
You have to think, so I'm quite hot on this because when I did my GCSE in BTEC music, they always said extra marks were awarded for dynamics. Mm-hmm. So I did Blackbird, which was a grade 9 piece at the time,
right?
Which was the equivalent of an A star.
Yeah, but not grade 9 as in musical grades, as in academic grades.
Yeah, and you think Blackbird, it doesn't really change much. So I would sort of emphasise, like, I come out of the verse.
Yeah.
And they're like, examiners are going, oh yeah, I love that, tick, tick,
yeah,
tick.
in academia, it's sort of, you got to be careful. It sort of turns into a box ticking exercise.
But you have to think, if you start from we do a lot of graded work here with students, and people that watch should look at the graded pieces, I think, you'll see F for forte. If you think you're starting in forte and you're hitting the guitar to the point where you're about to snap the neck, what are you going to do when it gets to mezzo forte?
Yeah, which is
louder.
More
you
louder.
Can't, so yeah, more loud. It's like Steve Carell in Anchorman. Loud noises, isn't it? Like, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Subtract from the top.
Yeah.
Because you can always, it's like when you're painting a wall or something, you can't, this is really boring.
There's no cooking analogy today.
No, exactly. You can't, if you slap it on, you can't then take it off. You can always put more on.
Yes, that's a really good way to look at it. Yeah. Softly. Okay.
Yes, definitely.
So, final thing I want to talk about is tone talk, which kind of ties into that. Now, as an electric guitar player playing strumming patterns, one tool in your arsenal that you can use to get that extra lift is by using an overdrive pedal. Mm-hmm. So I've got a Boss SD1 on the floor. Now, I've not got it set to mega death metal settings, but I've got it set to, that's my clean tone. If I stand on the pedal now.
Bit of grit goes in there.
Yeah, just a little bit of something, and maybe a slight little boost in volume.
As I say, in the room, it's gone from there to there.
Yeah, but and on your sort of iPad speakers or iPhone speakers at home, it might not be as obvious. But I would say something like Candy. I'd strum the verse with a clean tone, but then when I want that big push,
yeah.
Back to clean.
You have to think in a band setting as well, the drummer's going to be hitting harder as well, and the bass player, and the singer's going to be singing louder because it's the big finale of the song.
So the whole band wants to come up. Now, strumming, so I'd experiment using an overdrive pedal. Like my level's set to 10 o'clock, my tone's set to 11 o'clock, so not too bright, but not too dark either. And my drive is only set to probably 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock.
Well, you said it's an overdrive, it's not distortion.
Yeah, we don't want it to be mega, mega dirty. We still want...
It's still clean. If you whack your volume down a little bit and played softer, you still got a clean tone on that. There you go.
So that's how I'd approach it on electric guitar. Also, with your clean tone, don't be afraid to use your bass controls and try and use your neck pickup or the middle pickups on the guitar with a clean tone. We're using the Boss Katana Gen 3s today, and I've got it on the clean setting with the gain at 11 o'clock. Now, this guitar's very bright, so I have had to back it off a little bit, but persevere with your clean tones, because strumming on, if it sounds like this,
that's horrible.
You're digging in too much, and you need to add much more bass into your signal to make it
palatable. Yeah.
I find that I can be a bit more heavy-handed with the acoustic when I'm strumming this stuff. With the electric, I've got to be a bit softer. Fender style guitars in particular are much more. Are much less forgiving than anything with humbuckers like a Gibson or an Epiphone.
Yeah, it's still jangly, a neck pickup on a Strat.
Yeah, but that's the charm of it. You want
it's
not
quite a Rickenbacker,
but you hear how I'm picking all those extra notes, and that's what lets all that poke through. So Should we move on to pick our brains?
We shall.
Okay.
It's been a while that we've done it properly.
Yeah, if you've got any questions that you'd like us to answer, please do. The YouTube comments of the most recent episode is the best place to put them.
And they've erupted this week, which has been good. Yeah. Okay, so I'll start with the first question. It's mainly for me, so I'll read it out and let you know your thoughts. So this is from Dave. I think he's in Greece. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
Yep. So he says, I've currently got a Fender Player 2 Strat HSS, so twin humbucker, in the bridge, sitting in my tome and shopping cart. That's a dangerous game, David. After watching several reviews and seeing George with the Max Fusion, I'm seriously thinking of going for the Max Fusion. Any thoughts? The Max Fusion, in my 2 weeks of playing, is a very good guitar. For the money, it is really, really good. However, David, I don't know what your playing's like. Regardless, I think you will be better with that Strat, with the humbucker. Just because you don't have all the faff of the locking nut and the Floyd Rose. That Strat is out of the box, ready to go after a tune-up. And it's so much more versatile. You can use it for stuff like we're talking about today. And you can also use it for a bit of distortion, a bit of lead stuff. That's what I would go for. I've been playing nearly 17 years, and it's only now that I want something like as crazy as that. That's my view.
I think it depends on your repertoire, David. Now, David participated in Rhythmus last year quite a lot, so I've seen quite a lot of David's playing, and yeah, he's a good player.
I'm not saying you can't play by any stretch.
No, but you just don't want him to make an ill-informed purchase. I think that's what that is, isn't it? I would, personally, knowing the limited amount that I know about you and your playing, I would also recommend the Strat. The Floyd Rose thing. Now, if you were posting every other week of you playing Van Halen stuff and some, more kind of Bon Jovi and sort of looking at Steve Vai stuff and one thing or another, I would recommend that you got the Max Fusion because that's a lot of guitar for the money. It's a lot of guitar. The Strat you'll find will help you in other areas as well because I know you got quite a few Harley Bentons. He's got quite a few Harley Bentons in his collection, I think. So I think you'd feel like it was a massive upgrade for you, and I'm a brand snob. I will always go for the brand. I
must say, there is nothing better than that spaghetti headstock. That logo, it's just
so yeah.
nice.
If it were my money, I would go for the HSS Strat because you'll find that you can play more or less anything you want to on it, and it'll feel like a real upgrade.
It will, definitely. So. It's like those people that buy a big V8 to do 2 miles to the shops. Cool, but do you need? If
you're going to buy it, use it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, one from Gareth.
Oh.
Then. So not a short one, Gareth. Thank you very much. Question for a future podcast. Regarding alternate picking, it had occurred to me the other day that I pick a downstroke to start, go past the string, and then strike up again. So far, so good. But then I got me thinking, let's say you're playing 2 different strings alternate picking. This is what I was wondering. Would I pick the nearest string to me as an upstroke, and then the string below as a downstroke? In other words, keeping the pick between 2 strings, or would I use the normal technique of down first and then up? So essentially, he's talking about alternate picking on 2 different strings. Do I go down first, or do I go up first, or do I do 2 downs? Is that allowed? I think
Ingrid brought this up in the Facebook group as well. Gareth, knowing you and knowing you're playing, Gareth, for those of you that are not part of the Facebook group, you should absolutely join it. It's a great community. I've seen Gareth play a lot. He participates in our Feedback Fridays quite a lot. Gareth, knowing you're playing and knowing you, it doesn't matter. Try not to get too wrapped up in the minutiae of it all. The only time I'd ask sort of that you address that is if you find yourself being tripped up. As long as 9 out of 10, sort of let's say 70% of the time, every downstroke that you do is followed by a subsequent upstroke in something like I'm pretty sure this is going to be. I'm an E flat I.
sounds all right though.
That's the verse for Whiskey in the Jar, which is what I assume you're working on at the minute, Gareth. Regardless whether you start with a down or upstroke, as long as the other stroke is the other one,
yes.
I'm not bothered. Personally, playing that, I'm playing downstroke on the B string and an upstroke on the G. So I'm going down, up, down, up, down, up. But some people would find to do an up then a down would be fine. It's as long as you're doing alternates, I'm not really bothered which way around that you do that. Have you anything to add to that, George?
It comes into economy picking, does this? What makes sense? I think. I actually looked at us playing You Give Love a Bad Name last week when we both on them. See, I'm alternate. I did 2 ups there.
TI down and
down up.
pick it.
Yeah, we both did it differently both times. I don't think it matters. As you say, if you trip up, because it's easy to do, especially whiskey in the gym.
I revisited Living on a Prayer for the Super Secret Project, which is coming. And I was trying really hard on one of the videos because there's an up-close video of me playing it where it's just my fretboard and you can see exactly what I'm doing. And I was finding it really hard to play it. I told everybody in the video to do down and up picking in the lesson, and then I'm up picking everything. I'm down picking everything.
Well, that's what I mean. It's we spoke about it a few weeks ago with Metallica. People getting upset. Hetfield just happens to play all downstrokes. I'm not good enough to do all downstrokes when you're playing that quickly.
Yeah.
If it makes sense, do it, and if it feels right, can't.
Agreed.
A spade is a spade.
Hope that answers your question, Gareth.
And then the final one is from Jeff Thompson, also a regular contributor in the Facebook
Jeff.
group. One-to-one lessons here as well.
Yep.
You're going to owe us some rent soon, Jeff. You hear that often. George, is that Katana Go plugged into your guitar? If so, what are you using as the output? I've done it 3 times now. Katana Go is a headphone amp that plugs into your guitar. It's about this big, the size of a tuner. So when it's plugged into the bottom of your guitar, it sticks out. I'm actually using an eBay special aux to 6.3mm jack adapter. So at one end, it's an aux cable, this sort of small pin.
Yeah, like an iPhone headphone jack.
And at the other end, it's a full 6.3mm sort of receiver jack, whereby I can plug that in. The Katana thinks it's got a headphone in it, and then I can plug a regular guitar lead into the amplifier. It's cheap, as we found out. It doesn't always work properly. If there are proper ones out there, but I'm only using it every now and again to get some cool tones on the podcast. Otherwise, it is a headphone amp. I'm not using it for what it's meant for.
It's not strictly what it's not. George is making it do a job that it shouldn't do.
Designed to do.
But I'm kind of thinking now that you've got that Cerberus unit, that kind of replaces that, doesn't it?
When we do our gig in November with the full KGS band, doing some. Essentially, it's what we did last week: big hair metal, lots of loud noises.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
I will have my amp. I will probably use one of the Katanas we've got here at the school, or my Rock Pro amp. Have a fairly hot tone set up, which will be my main clean overdrive. All of a sudden, when I need to solo, press one pedal, and it turns the volume up like you had down there.
Yeah,
old school A, B analog stuff.
Yeah, I'm undecided what I'm going to take to that gig. I know I'm going to take probably the custom. Maybe the SG.
I'm taking the Les Paul and the Super Strat. We've got 15 songs in the set, so I've got nearly an even split between them.
Yeah, but I'm wondering, do I take the Little Princeton or do I take the Super Lead with the 412 cab?
Well, now you've got it
and
working
blow everyone
again,
away?
you've got to take
Yeah. Thanks, Bob, for that, by the way.
Maybe if you can put a poll or let people... Everyone's going to vote for the Marshall.
Of course they are, because more is more. But we'll see. It all depends whether I can get it in the Land Rover or not, on top of everything else.
I've got a van that week, so...
You have?
Yeah.
Marshall it is then. Right, I think we'll call
that
that today.
feeling too.
So, strumming, great fun. You know, you will get over it. And if you are if you come in for lessons at the school, remember we're only doing it to keep you here for the maximum amount of time possible.
Yes, we want repeat business.
Yeah.
We've got bills to pay.
No, it's all part of the master plan, and we'll get there. We're going to look for people that are sort of currently in that down, up, sort of stage of the strumming at the minute. We're this far off starting to do a bit of call and response work, and it's definitely coming.
Just one more point. When you first learn guitar, down, up is really hard in lesson 2 or 3. Now, we don't experiment on humans. A group of people in the 1940s got in a lot of trouble for that over in Europe. So we don't do that. Down and up is really hard. That's all really hard. Would that just feel the same? I'd love to sort of learn. We've spoken about trying to learn guitar left-handed.
Yes.
See if it's actually that
I've tried
difficult.
to do it. I've tried to do it before, yeah.
Just a random think about that. If a G chord is hard, is Van Halen also as hard?
Yeah. It's for where you are, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting a bit too philosophical for my liking. Should we play some guitar?
Yeah, take the specs off now.
We'll see you next week, folks. Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah.